Welcome to the Explainer. You know that feeling when your code base starts getting bigger and bigger and it just feels chaotic? Well, if you've ever felt that, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to demystify a core concept in TypeScript that turns that chaos into pure, beautiful clarity. We're talking about modules. All right, let's just dive right in. We're starting with something pretty familiar, right? Lego bricks. But what on earth could these colorful little plastic blocks have to do with writing software? Well, as it turns out, pretty much everything. Think about it. You can take these simple individual bricks and combine them to build some incredibly complex, amazing structures. And that's exactly how great code works. It's all about starting with small, well-defined building blocks to create something powerful and, most importantly, something that's easy to work with. And that brings us right to the heart of today's explainer. In the world of programming, our Lego bricks have a name: modules. These are the fundamental pieces we use to build clean, organized, and scalable software. So what is a module, really? At its simplest, it's just a self-contained piece of your project. And usually, that means it's just a single file. You can think of it like a specialized Lego brick. One might be a wheel, another one could be a window. Each module has one specific job, and it holds all the code it needs to do that one job perfectly. Okay, so why is this such a big deal? To really get why modules are so powerful, let's take a look at what happens when you don't use them. And trust me, this is a situation pretty much every developer runs into as a project starts to take off. It always starts simple. You have one file. Easy enough. But then you add a feature, and another one. And pretty soon that single file has ballooned into this messy, tangled monster, a monolith. Before you know it, you've got hundreds of lines of code where your data, your logic, and everything else is just all jumbled together. Trying to find or change anything in there, it's an absolute nightmare. And this is where modules come in to save the day. They let us take that giant monolith and just break it apart. We can create a data.ts file just for our data, a functions.ts for our logic, and so on. All of a sudden, each file has a clear, focused purpose. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. The main benefit here is that your project becomes instantly understandable. Need to fix a bug in a function? You go to the functions file. Need to update a data structure? You know exactly where the data file is. It makes your code predictable and just so much easier to manage. So the big question is, how do these separate files, these modules, actually talk to each other? I mean, if all our code is in different little boxes, how do we connect them to build our app? Well, this is where two very important keywords come into play: import and export. I want you to think of it like a busy shipping port. When one module has a function or some data it wants to share, it uses the export keyword. This is like loading a shipping container onto a boat, ready to be sent out. Then, another module that needs that code uses the import keyword to, you guessed it, unload that container and start using what's inside. Now, this whole shipping system is actually really flexible. TypeScript gives us two main ways to package our code for export. We've got named exports and default exports. And understanding the difference between them is really key to keeping your project well organized. So, here's the deal. You use a named export when a file has a bunch of different things it wants to share, maybe a few handy helper functions. Each one gets exported by its specific name. But if a module's main job is to share just one big thing, like a major component or a configuration object, you use a default export. It's a way of saying, hey, this is the main thing this file has to offer. Okay, let's bring this all home. We've seen what modules are, and we've seen how they connect with each other. But why does this modular approach pretty much always win, especially as projects get more complex? The benefits are just huge. First off, your code becomes reusable. You write a function one time, and you can import it in 10 different places. It's that classic developer principle: don't repeat yourself. It also makes your code way easier to maintain, because if you fix a bug in one module, that fix is instantly everywhere that module is used. And for teamwork, it's a total game changer. Different developers can work on different files at the same time without constantly running into each other. So at the end of the day, when you start thinking of your code not as one giant sculpture, but as a well-organized set of Lego bricks, you unlock this incredible ability to build bigger, better, and much more resilient applications. It's honestly the foundational skill that separates messy code from professional software. So the only question left is, what are you going to build with your new set of bricks?